Good afternoon slash evening, everyone in Connecticut and around the country and around the world. My name is Jason Douglas. I'm here with Selena Rifkin as once again another edition of Common Sense News and Entertainment Podcast. And we are here with a very special guest, Amy Chai, who is running in the first district of our Congress. Welcome,
Hi
Amy.
there.
Running
Hi.
against the decrepit and quite deranged John Larson.
Yes, John has been in office for many, many years, and it's time for him to go fishing. I'll even buy him a fishing pole.
Very
Yeah,
good.
but thank you for having me on today.
Oh, we're glad to have you. Tell us what's on your mind, and first of all, tell us how you're going to beat Larson. We want to know what you got up your sleeve.
Okay, absolutely. Um, John Larson is in a weakened position politically. He's had a couple of little health events that were televised, a little bit concerning. He is a very elderly individual. And now he has three people running against him in the primary. And
Oh, wow.
so
Wow.
that is going to weaken him even further.
Mm.
Now, if the front runner against him right now is Luke Brunnan, who used to be mayor of Hartford,
Yeah,
if
he's
you
got some name
recall.
recognition.
Yeah, he does have name recognition, but he was also not a very good mayor, and Hartford has really gone downhill. Hartford is a financial disaster, and there's a lot of people who don't like him. The other issue is that the executive branch is not the same as the legislative branch, so you really shouldn't be like going in between these two branches of government because they're not the same.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a lot of people in Connecticut's first district that are really tired of what's going on. Um, People in Hartford have really given up hope. A lot of minorities understand now that they're only wanted for their vote, and after that, they don't care whatsoever. We keep hearing about how excellent Connecticut schools are, but I wouldn't be
Like
thinking
this.
that when there's only
This was work.
17% of people that are reading at grade level in
Yeah.
Hartford City. And what they're doing is they're condemning these children to a lifetime of failure, um, and dependency, and even crime and incarceration. They're literally condemning these children to these horrible outcomes. And
Hmm.
if I were a parent in Hartford City, I would be absolutely enraged by what they're doing. And not only that, but these kids know what a pronoun is before they know their alphabet.
Oh,
Yeah.
This isn't what parents want. This isn't what parents want shoved down their throats in Connecticut or anywhere. So
Even
there's a
even
lot of.
kids even kids know that this is bogus. A lot of them
Oh yeah, yeah, they know.
too.
Everybody knows how bogus it is.
Yeah.
Um, so the people in Hartford, they feel abandoned because they have been abandoned, right? There's a lot of people who just simply stopped voting because they feel like nothing is ever going to change. I want to talk to those people. I want to address their issues because they're part of this state too.
Hmm.
They deserve to have education. They deserve to have small businesses. They deserve to have opportunities to work, and to be proud of their families and be proud of their accomplishments. And that's not happening.
Hmm.
Um, we also have a lot of people who are unaffiliated. And a lot of these unaffiliated people are realizing just how um, insane the left has become.
Hmm.
Um, the people who are conservative, right of center, really haven't changed that much over the years.
mhm.
But the left has really gone off the deep end, and the hills that they die on now are so unpopular, that nobody really wants open borders. Nobody really wants illegals voting in elections. Nobody really wants pornography in school. And these are the things, the hills that the Democrats are dying on. They're not going to step back on these far, far left ideas. And people just aren't happy with it. They want somebody who is rational, someone who is going to represent them instead of rule over them.
Mm-hmm.
They want somebody that believes in secure borders and secure elections. And the other thing we did was we actually looked at the numbers. We looked at the numbers with uh, an expert from Florida, actually, um, who does believe that CT1 actually is flippable.
Wow.
It's, yeah, it is flippable. And even though it has the Cook index of D plus 12, just like every other Connecticut congressional district, um, you're not going to win if you don't try. And unfortunately, the attitude of the powers that be at times have been there's no point in trying because you can't win. And that
Ridiculous.
is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I know that I can beat Larson. We have the numbers that say I can beat Larson. I'm willing to go into the cities and talk and listen and represent. I'm willing to go out there and listen to what people want.
And let me
Um,
ask you: you're willing to go into the cities, but are you planning to go into the cities?
I already have.
Great,
I'm the first person of either party to announce my candidacy at a Black-owned, woman-owned, veteran-owned business, which I did in downtown Hartford, saying, "Look, I'm here. I'm sorry people haven't been here in the past, but I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here to
great,
represent you. And
awesome.
I'm here to represent everybody. I'm not here to represent like
Common
some
sense too.
yeah, it's like there's people out there who share a lot of conservative values. And it's totally fine. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Um, but I do have to listen to you. And I do have to do my best to represent you
Mm.
within the framework of what I believe is right.
I really
And
like what you said about representing you and not ruling over you. That's a really good. You should repeat that
After
a
all,
lot.
we're supposed to have no kings here in Connecticut.
Right.
I know, right? But we have in Connecticut, we have a supermajority. We have no legal recourse because the Attorney General's office and all the courts are political. A legislature that wants to cram everything down people's throat, whether they want it or not. We just saw that yesterday at the Capitol building.
Yep.
We also have a governor who doesn't care and is actually being forced more and more to the left um, to maintain his prominence within his own party.
Mm.
And then we have people like John Larson, who doesn't know how to say anything except hands off my Social Security. And he doesn't even rely on Social Security himself.
Mhm.
He relies on his congressional pension. And that's the only thing he knows. That's the only thing he's able to talk about. But he doesn't seem to care that the families are suffering, that the kids can't read,
Right.
that people can't afford to live their own lives. He doesn't care. He's just here to spout whatever the party tells him to spout, to post himself saying something radical about ICE being Nazis, to make outrageous claims about Doge,
Mhm.
um, just to sort of get in the good graces with the far left of his own party because he has to win a primary against people who are even farther left than he is.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, so he's definitely skewing to the left. If he loses, that's great. If he wins, he's weakened. Either way, we have work to do, but I can win this. I know that I can win this. We have the strategy, we have the urban strategy, we have the strategy for the independent and unaffiliated voters, and
Get people registered too. There's a lot of people that are not registered in
getting
Hartford.
people registered to vote.
Yeah.
I think it's time to go out and visit churches, time
Mm.
to go out and visit homeschooling communities, time to go out and see if we can get some foot soldiers for change.
Mhm.
And
Gotta have a ground game.
to have a ground game, exactly. And um, I hate to say this, but there's a certain amount of, I guess you might say, benign neglect on the part of the party itself
You can say
that
that. You can
that
totally say that.
yeah
I'll
does
call it
not
cantankerous neglect myself.
yeah
That's
um
my quote.
the lack of any kind of desire to, you know, to get out there and help congressional candidates. There's 5 races right now in the midterm election coming up this year, 2026. Traditionally, there's been a loss for the party that is in the presidency.
Mhm.
So they're going to do everything that they can to prevent people from winning who are Republicans.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be looking here at Connecticut. We can
That's fair.
they're not. They think they don't have to do anything here, but I think they're wrong. Um, if just 1/5 of every registered Republican would give me just $10, I would have $1 million. And I could actually be the kind of contender that I need to be. I'm here, I'm ready, I'm prepared, I'm ready to hit the ground. I have a great team. But without any financial support, it's going to be incredibly challenging. And I'm not going to lie about that. It is the financial part is very hard. I think a lot of people assume that everyone gets state funding, like a lot of the state candidates do.
Yeah.
But we don't. We get nothing. We get nothing from the party. We get nothing from the state. We literally get nothing. And I have
The national party doesn't give anything either, then, huh?
no, nobody gives anything. I spend a couple hours every day making phone calls, and most people don't even answer their phones. It's very difficult, and people can't even give 10, you can't even give $10, right? You can't even give $10 to save your country, really? You'd spend that at Starbucks. I'm sorry. I'm just, I have put myself out here working very, very hard. I quit my job
Yeah.
to do this. I quit my job to do this. Why? Not because I want money, not because I want power, not because I want status, but because I don't want to lose this country. That's why I don't want to lose this country. And
Mhm.
I'm sacrificing my time, my treasure, my heart, my spirit, everything I'm sacrificing um, to help our country survive.
I your passion about that is well taken because I've been saying all year long that we're in a lot of trouble. We have Marxists that have infiltrated our media, our social circles, our politics, our schools, especially.
Yes.
Even our food. I mean, everything is. We're in a lot of trouble, and we need a lot of good old fashioned Americans to come out and fight for it. And it sounds like you're up for you're up for it. Where can people donate? Where do they go if they want to donate?
My website is Chai for Congress. That's ChaiForCongress.com. That's chaiforcongress.com. And every penny helps. Every penny helps. Um, Even like printing up a flyer, costs like $100, right?
Yeah, yeah.
To print up a couple hundred copies of a flyer to bring out, like I did
Very
yesterday to bring out
expensive.
to the Capitol. Um, to send out one letter is, even if you do like, the mass mailing thing where you get the discount,
Mhm.
it comes out to about 50 cents per piece of mail. And there's 300,000 households in CT1. You do the math.
Mhm.
But yet, someone like an incumbent can get franked mail and can mail stuff out to their constituents for free.
Mhm.
But for me, it's going to cost over $100,000 just to send out one piece of mail.
Right.
That's what we're up against. We're up against people with millions and millions of dollars, with free media, with free franked mail, um, and the difference is incredible. It's very hard to get your name out there. It's very hard to get donations. And it's almost like people don't really see the urgency.
No,
Um, and that's very concerning to me. I mean, life is hard. I get it. It's hard just surviving. It's
do you
hard
do you
working.
have enough people that like? If you ever thought, what do you have going on for door to door? Because that's really how you get to people.
Right.
Circumvent the media. I know that's one of the most labor intensive and
It is.
difficult. But it's not if you get people that if you can just get a few people in the district that feel the way you feel, that want to spend time rather than money. It can be done with less expensively. Well, but
Right.
you gotta have the people that have the heart to do it. That's the thing too.
Yeah, and I on my website, shyforcongress.com, I do have a space where people can volunteer. The weather has not been great, unfortunately, lately, but I think the weather this spring is going to start clearing up nicely.
For sure.
I would really like to have a point person in every town in CT's first district that would be able to coordinate with volunteers and just say, yeah, I'll go, I'll make phone calls, I'll walk door to door. If you can hand out a flyer door to door, that's going to save you 50 cents per piece.
Yeah.
And
But not just hand out a flyer, but maybe get a chance to try to talk to the people too that are there and about
right,
the
right.
urgency.
And
Really, it's hard to be. You want to be positive, but at the same time, the urgent of what happens if we lose is pretty
it, it,
dastardly.
it's
So,
it's terrifying what's going to happen if we lose it. And I'm not trying to fearmonger. What I'm saying is, do we want the borders back open?
yeah,
Do we want to be flooded with unvetted terrorists?
yeah.
Do we want them to take like our lifeblood and all of our money and just
You want to
give it
mutilate our
away?
children,
Just give it away.
or mutilate our children without even us even knowing about it, or when it's apparent.
Right, right.
You
The
know,
degree of
but
like, we can't just roll over and die.
no,
We can't. We have to fight for our country. We have to fight for our civil liberties. We have to fight for control
no,
of our government again, because this is a government that's of, by, and for the people.
right,
But the people have no voice. The people have no choice. And if we're going to sit around and do nothing, that's not going to change. And they're going to take everything we have, and we won't have a country anymore. And then it will be too late.
yeah.
If people can't see that, I don't know how to express that any more clearly than I have been expressing it already.
Can I ask you when at what point along your journey did you kind of see the danger? Like the politics as usual in the 80s and the 90s, blah blah blah. And at some
Yeah.
point, Obama became president. All these things began to happen. How did it develop in your mind where you're like, wait a minute, put on the this is now not just politics. Now there is something to really worry about.
Yeah. I started noticing it back in the 90s. I've always been, so busy as a mom and as a physician, just working so hard, just like everyone else. You're struggling just to pay your bills, pay your taxes, raise your children.
Hmm.
I really started noticing in the 90s. I have always worked a lot with people overseas, and one of the things that I was very involved in was helping the nation of South Sudan to become a country, which it became in 2011.
Hmm.
So I was behind the scenes helping Sudanese people get to DC. And I actually ghost wrote a book of someone who had been um, tortured by the jihad people, and everyone was like murdered. They killed a couple million people. They displaced 4 million others. People in America didn't even have the slightest idea.
Mhm.
But I did. And I was out there working for it. And then in 2011, South Sudan was formed. Well,
Mhm.
guess who stepped up to destroy South Sudan? None other than Hillary Clinton.
Ah,
She invited one person from each NGO into the West Wing, and I drove my friend from Sudan. I drove him there so he could talk with Hillary. And Hillary, as you know, was very like tight like this with a woman named Huma Abedin, who is very closely affiliated with the Muslim Brotherhood. And Hillary was treating people who fought back as morally equivalent to people who were committing genocide. She called it a civil war.
She really is a sick woman.
Yeah, and it's like this isn't a civil war. This is trying to fight back so that you don't die.
mhm,
She was, and she wanted the new country. She said the USAID would not help Sudan at all, South Sudan, unless South Sudan agreed to all of these UN policies that she didn't make the North Sudan follow.
mhm,
It was bad. And so, I mean, I knew back in the 90s, I knew back in the early um, aughts, I knew about this. And because I'm just very involved, I know a lot of people around the world. Um, I have friends who are missionaries abroad in almost all different countries. I know what's happening. I have spent a lot of my own personal money and time helping people in foreign countries. I don't talk about that.
Right.
It's something I do because I care about it. But I also know what people like Hillary are up to.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I also knew a lot about what was going on with the deconstructionist theory and with the Marxist theory in schools.
mhm,
I knew about that a long time ago. That's why I home educated my kids starting in sixth grade, 6 through 12. I home educated. I'm not as good with little kids, but I'm really good with older kids.
Yeah.
So I did home educate the middle and high school for my kids.
Wow.
And
Good. You know what it was for me? It was
mhm.
South Park.
South Park.
Well, I started
Yeah.
hearing about in the mid '90s. Started hearing the term politically correct,
Oh, yeah. Oh
and I
my
started
gosh.
thinking, what does that mean? And I started thinking, doesn't that jive with the First Amendment a little bit? And then about a year later, I saw a South Park episode where the little kid Marsh or something. I don't watch the show all that much, but I've seen a few episodes, and he says to him something about political correct. He said, "Wait a minute, political correct isn't that the same thing as fascism?" And it got me thinking, like, wait a minute. And then I said, that's when I started to worry. I started to think maybe things are. And I'm a little bit. I was only, I was in my mid 20s or whatever. I started to think, uh oh. And then I remember when the Berlin Wall came down, everybody was jubilant. The Soviet Union, or after that, the Soviet Union collapsed. We have this world of free world now, and I think that was the peak of the free world in the '90s. And I remember thinking to myself, man, we don't have the cold anymore. It's great that we don't have the cold anymore war anymore. We don't have this common enemy though, and now we're going to start turning on ourselves.
Yeah.
And here we
Well,
are.
China has really stepped up to the plate as a global enemy. When it was Jintao, things were different, but since she has come into power, um, he is a lot more hardcore and really putting the hammer down on the people of China
Mhm.
as far as intellectual control
Right.
and also speech control and the social credit system. And if people haven't read any literature from the Warring States period, they really need to. If you haven't read Sun Tzu, The Art of War, if you haven't read any of that other Warring States period, you'll know that you'll never know when China's at war with you
Right.
because they don't declare war.
Mhm.
They
To
just keep
them,
doing the
war
thing.
War is deception. War is deception.
Hmm.
And they've been at it for a long time,
Yes, they have.
uh, going after
Buying our
America.
farmland.
They're buying up farmland. They're sending their little magical weather balloon like over all of our nuclear launch sites.
Hmm.
They are propagandizing their own people pretty hardcore.
Hmm.
They are using TikTok against us while their own kids have a 2 hour um, screen limit.
Hmm.
Um, and they are, you know, promoting a lot of the dumbing down and stuff here in the US. Um, and they really have a lot of control at the academic level, just like the Muslim Brotherhood
Yeah,
does.
they're
Like
all over our universities for
they're
sure.
all over our
I,
universities, and as a person who, you know, our family being academic and well known globally, and my husband being ethnically Chinese, they've tried to get us on board numerous times.
Mhm.
And my husband is like, "Oh hell no." He knows. He knows what they're up to.
Yeah.
Um, and he can't stand um the way they use the way they use academics to advance their goals. Um, there's just a lot of nefarious things going on, and it's not just from China. It's also um, what people really need to understand is the Red Green Alliance. Do you know what the Red Green Alliance is?
I would imagine that that is an alliance between Islam and communists.
Correct.
Mhm.
Back in, I might not look like I'm old enough to remember 1979,
You do not.
but I do remember 1979, and it actually was an alliance between communism and Islam. It was the Red Green Alliance. And that is how they originally overthrew the Shah of Iran. And if you were alive at that time, you do remember the horrific hostage situation and
Remember.
our weak President Carter, who did nothing about it. And you know what caused it? It was a United Red Green Alliance.
Mhm.
And then, unfortunately, for the red communist youngsters who were all idealistic and thought the Shah shouldn't live in a nice, pretty palace when other people didn't have as much money as him, um, they got killed.
Yeah.
They got killed. Um,
They should have nipped that in the bud back then. We should have, like when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait and we had this international coalition, we should have done that then with Iran.
yeah. So these young communist, idealistic young people thought that, oh, let this imam take charge and we'll have a wonderful life of peasants dancing joyfully in the fields, or I don't know what they think, but it's not realistic. And then after the imam takes control, he's like, here's your hijab, girls. um
Yeah.
and then pretty soon it's like, let me behead you.
Mm.
Um, and then it's 47 years of hell for the
Yeah.
people in Iran.
Right.
And then, we tolerated this going on in Iran for years and years, knowing that their goal was to end us.
Yeah.
They said
Um,
so. They,
yeah,
I mean, they said
they've been
so.
saying so for decades.
Yeah.
And then this most recent couple of months, I think, where China goes in there with giant plane loads of weapons that are hardened against American systems.
Mhm.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. and 90% of Iranian oil goes directly to China.
Right.
So, cutting off the Straits of Hormuz, cutting off the oil going to China, getting rid of all the stuff that China gave to Iran to kill us with,
Hmm.
you know, that's something that had to happen. Or, because sometimes you just, there's a point at which things are getting worse, taking a turn for the worse, and this was it. And then plus the massive murder of 40,000 of their own citizens who dared to speak up against the regime, the slaughter, just the wholesale slaughter
Well,
of
just morality wise, we have to
40,000
do it.
young people. It's like even if they didn't want to kill us, just saving those poor innocent people um, is a moral justification
Hmm.
for getting rid of the Ayatollah. We I'm hoping that they're able to take back their country soon. But that's just one episode of our feckless leaders, like giving the Iranian mullahs billions and billions of dollars and just saying, oh, if we give you billions of dollars, you'll play nice with us.
Yeah, do
That's
it.
the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
Now, here's the question. Do you think they believed it?
No.
You know what? I think they do believe it. I
Mhm.
think they do believe it. And the reason that I think this is because I've read stuff out of the State Department
Mhm.
and I've read what they think about religious people. Now, me being
Oh,
a religious person my whole life,
yeah.
I know that I would die for my faith. I know that because I actually believe in my faith.
Their faith is to end the Western world, though.
Exactly.
You know.
So I understand people like that. I understand them deeply. I understand that they are acting out of a place where they believe God wants them to kill us.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I even respect it somewhat. I mean, I understand they believe that they're doing God's will. They do. And the left doesn't understand how people of faith think. They think that they're just poor people, and once they see money, they're going to say, oh, well, we're not going to be religious. That's not true.
You don't think all the death to America chants for the last 40 years even dawned on a guy like Barack Obama, who's the one that gave them all that money?
Yeah. I mean, the lack of any kind of, understanding of how real people think and what motivates real people. Just like, I came from poverty. Okay. I came from very, very deep poverty, the kind of poverty where we had a blanket nailed up for a front door and
Hmm.
two blankets nailed up in the wintertime. I know what it's like to not have food. I know what it's like to not have medical care. I know what it's like have everything you try to buy, like a car, have it all repoed. I know that.
Hmm.
Okay. And then the people who come out, the politicians are like, these poor people are voting against their own interests. And I'm like, honey, you don't know what our interests are.
Hmm.
You don't know what our interests are. And my interest is to be free of you all. Um,
Yes, indeed.
that's my interest.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
There's no, being poor is being poor, but being owned
That's
is
different.
something entirely different.
that's correct.
Yeah, and that's where, and being treated as some sort of an enemy of the state, that is not sitting well with me either.
Mhm.
A parent who doesn't want pornography in the school, oh, you're a terrorist. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. No, no, that's no. I don't accept being treated like an enemy by my own government.
Right.
I don't accept that. I will not accept that. And it does make me angry,
Yep.
what's going on. And um, I know that I speak for a lot of people who are like myself. But if you're like, say you're a poor person in America who just works and goes to their job and just wants to be left alone to have their family in peace, right?
Yeah.
There's no voice for you.
Hmm.
There's nothing for you. You're made to feel like you're the problem.
Hmm.
You're stupid. You're the enemy. You're bad. You're immoral, even. And there's no voice.
Hmm.
And that needs to end. Okay. The treating people like they're worthless because, oh, maybe they have a blue collar job, right?
Yeah.
You know, that's not okay. It's never been okay. And it's, the sneering, the superiority, the moral preening, it just sticks in my craw. Um, you know, it just does.
Yeah.
And it, I want to be the voice for people who don't have a voice. And, those people, there's plenty of people like that. Um, and as I've come up through the ranks of academia, and now I'm well off. Now, my husband is very well known, even globally, high academic positions.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not part of it unless I change who I am.
Hmm.
And I'm not willing to do that.
Hmm.
Um, my husband was brought into the CEO's office, asked if I'm his wife, and he said yes. And they said, watch out, be careful.
Great.
I know, right? And it's like, I'm sorry.
Right. The threat, essentially.
It's a threat. It's a
Yeah.
threat. And I'll tell you another thing. There's a urologist in North Carolina who was recently elected to Congress. My husband sits on the American Board of Urology, which is a group of about 12 men and some women, who determine who is allowed to practice urology in the country.
Wow.
They gave him a letter from the AUA asking for them to remove the board certification of this man because he was a Republican.
Wow.
This is the kind of thing that happens. You all don't know about it.
Yeah.
It's ugly. It's ugly. They've decided that we're evil, that we should be taken out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's here's the thing about it. A lot of them know we're not evil. They're the evil ones. But there are a lot of them are mentally deranged too.
yeah, they're deranged. You know what? Nobody believes that they're evil.
I
No,
know.
no, no one
I
believes.
believe
They
it.
Everybody believes that they have the one true answer to the problems of the world, and you ain't it. So they think that they're on the side of the angels.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They
Assuming they
do.
believe in angels.
So the ones that fall, I divide them into two groups. It's the ones that fall for their sales, their Kool Aid or drink the Kool Aid, so to speak. They're not necessarily evil. They're just naive and foolish and mentally ill, like TDS patients type of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a smaller group, are the ones like Barack Obama, the ones that and a lot of politicians, a lot of reporters, a lot of teachers and things and professors that are truly evil because they do foment this chaos and they
Yes.
know about it and they know that they're trying to it may be from the premise that they think they know how to run your
Well,
life better than
even
you do.
even Hitler was very disappointed that the world didn't fall in line with him. So,
Right. Like
this is
it's a twisted ideology they call it, but it is evil. I mean, well, if it's not evil, then what is?
Right. It is evil. But the people who do evil to others, they typically don't believe that they're evil.
hmm.
They think that I'm
Yeah,
evil. So it's okay whatever they do to me and my children.
but a doctor who coerces a child into genital or mutilation, right? That doctor is an expert in its field, and that doctor is well aware that studies are showing, especially overseas, that this is harming
Are they aware
Is
of it
more than
though?
helping them,
People
and he
are
still
real,
forces it.
Jason, people are really good at tuning stuff out.
Yeah, that's evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like you mean like
Well,
John
I'll
Thune? You mean
tell
like
you
John
what.
Thune? Oh, there's
It,
not much fraud going on. We don't need to pass the Save Act. Not much fraud.
yeah, and it's always interesting. They say there's not a lot of voter fraud, and there isn't, but there is electoral fraud and ballot fraud, which they don't count.
Oh.
They use words like the meaning of is. What is the meaning of is then? They use words, they define words a certain way, and then they fact check against their little special definitions
Mhm.
Yeah.
that prove their point, but then they don't explain what their definitions are that they're using. And that's how they're able to like fact check. Uh, they're able to fact check while lying to our face. And it's actually technically true.
Right.
Yeah, it's like lying with statistics. You can do it. You just have to not necessarily define your terms adequately. And that's what they're doing. So,
Yep. And
yeah. So,
they use language. They manipulate language so badly. Like I was saying earlier, this term "your truth,"
oh,
right? That's just that term was invented by liberals
yeah.
in order to make people make lying like, oh, it's my truth, so it must be. It blurs the whole
It blurs
demarcation
the
between
line
what's the truth and what's a
between
lie.
what's
Right? It's
true and
your
what's
truth. Oh, that
false.
must make it true for you. That makes so now lying becomes your truth.
Yes,
That's the kind of crap that they pull.
they do. It's really um it's really unfortunate that so many people fall for it too.
It is.
But when you think about like, okay, the average IQ is and half of the people are below that. So
Then the
Throw
Chinese
in
actually,
with
the
their dumbed
school
down techniques
systems.
again, and there you go.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
and
throw in the
this
school system, and we've got a lovely stew.
yes, yes. And when people, it's just like in 1984, when the job of the protagonist was to remove words from the dictionary
Mhm.
Yeah.
so that you can't think about, you can't, you don't actually have the words to consider
Mhm.
the ideas that are in your mind
Mhm.
Yeah,
because they're controlling the language and the meaning of words.
yeah.
So if you're unaware of that, then it really is double plus on good,
Mhm.
because you can't express your own oppression that's happening to you. You have no words for it,
Mhm.
and that's literally what they're doing. Redefining truth, redefining reality, redefining words, and doing this to children through the school system. Um, and if you don't like it, you're the enemy.
Right.
This is a big, serious problem. And I'm sure you have viewers on right now who are saying, oh, what's this woman talking about? How does she know this? Right. I'll tell you how I know it. Um, I did my master's degree in teaching medical school faculty how to teach young doctors. Okay.
Mhm.
So I became fairly well versed in some of the literature of teaching literature,
Mhm.
and the different pedagogies that they put forth. Um, and it's not any kind of a secret. It's in all the literature. All you have to do is read it. Um, and then I say something like, oh, they're trying to interfere with identity formation. And not only do people not know what that is, but then they think I'm insane. And
Mhm.
I'm like, it's written in this journal. All you have to do is read it. Can you read it? And it's like, no, they don't want to go that far
Right.
to actually read it. And that's why some of the pieces of legislation that I have in mind, that I want to sponsor, are going to deal with this problem directly. So I have a trilogy of bills that I will sponsor if elected that are going to create radical transparency because You don't fight against what you don't know is
Right.
happening.
Right.
So the areas of transparency include financial transparency,
Yeah.
legislative transparency, and educational transparency. These will be enabled on a secure server
Okay.
where anyone can, it would be read only, no write in.
Yeah.
Every penny, every pass through penny will be written there. And if you're interested, you can dig through the money and find out where your money's going.
You
Now,
won't
if
need FOIA for that. That would be
you
great.
won't, you won't need FOIA. All you have to do is log in.
Again,
That's all you have to do. So that's my financial
interesting.
transparency. And then for legislative transparency, it would be on the same server, and you'll see what's coming up and also like who is supporting it and who's
Voting
going to
records,
benefit from it.
legislative
And
voting records too, probably, right? Would be in there.
yeah, everything in
Yeah.
there, everything transparent about legislation is going to be there. No
That's
FOIA
good.
needed. And then the third thing is going to be pedagogy transparency. Because a lot of teachers will say, oh, we're not teaching critical pedagogy. No, they're not. They're using it as a lens through which we view everything in the world.
Mm.
So the pedagogical foundations will be um, there for the parents can see what lens we're viewing our curriculum through, what curriculum we have. It's going to be out there in the open and everyone can see it at any time, day or night.
Mm.
So these three transparency bills will enable the average citizen to go through and see like, hey, what is my government
Actually
that I
doing?
run? What is my government doing?
Yeah.
Okay. It's my government. I have every right to know what my government is doing with my money and
Right.
with legislation that affects me and with education that affects my family. I have every right to know that, and I have every right to know it right now with no FOIA. That is a keystone of my policy positions. I have the bills already written and ready to go. I have infographics about those issues, and I would look for co-sponsors and get those going. Hopefully, I would get a number of co-sponsors in the House. I know Democrats don't want transparency because um,
They got everything to hide.
the evil deeds are done in darkness,
Yes, they
right?
are.
Evil deeds in darkness. And when you turn on the light, all the cockroaches scatter, don't they?
They do, sure do. Just
Yeah.
ask Elon Musk with Doge last year, right?
Yes. And billions and billions of fraud, Medicare fraud, even like if you take a few moments to look at our own um state, some of the audits of our state are pretty shocking.
Yeah, we need a CT Doge.
We need a CT Doge. It's like one of the things is those P cards, those cards that they use as sort of every like bureau of the state or whatever has these cards that they use kind of like credit cards. And just in the Department of Corrections alone, I read their audit, 12% of those expenditures had no receipts. And that was a total of $250,000 just for one department, just for one part of their budget. $250,000 completely blind spending. Where did that money go?
Right.
And then people are dying in the prisons because they don't have enough nurses. Well,
Mm.
how many nurses could you hire with $250,000? And that's not all. There was a lot more than that where that came from. And people are asking for more and more money all the time. But I'm like, what about the money we're already flushing down the crapper, right?
Right.
Somebody needs to be held accountable.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
when there's single party rule ain't nobody accountable.
Mhm.
That needs to change too.
It needs to change. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, tell us again what the website is where people can donate to. So just in case they didn't get it the first time.
It is Chai for Congress, ChaiForCongress.com, chaiforcongress.com. I really do need your help. I need volunteers. I
10
need
bucks.
help.
Yeah, it adds up. It
In the
really
show
does.
notes. I'll make
Yeah.
sure it's in the show notes.
Yeah. If you want a voice, you're going to have to stand up and demand a voice.
Mm-hmm. What's
And
going to hand it
whether,
to you?
yeah, you're going to have to stand up and demand a voice or you won't get a voice.
Let me ask you one more thing, Amy, about now I know that President Trump is doing everything he can to save this country. I believe that he has the same frustrations that you share, that I share, and that Selena, we all share
Hmm.
in this movement with the country and the way it's headed. And that's what prompted him to run for president. He's not obviously not Hitler or a Nazi. He's got his heart in the right place.
Yeah.
But in Connecticut, though, it seems that even Republicans don't want to talk about Donald Trump. Even the chairman himself, Proto, has said he doesn't want to see Trump, even though he tries to backtrack on it now. Bottom line is, it seems like such an uphill battle to sell the fact that to even Republicans in Connecticut would say that Trump is actually doing the right thing, and even
Yeah.
if you don't like him personally, and I'll admit, back in the '80s and '90s, I thought he was kind of a I really wasn't
A
crazy about the
lot of
guy at
people
all.
felt that way.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. I mean, he was in
his
every
economic policies are
Sunday
spot
we'd
on.
get the Parade magazine and there'd be the little shocking story about what Trump did.
Yeah, and so,
Um,
but here's the thing: whether you like his personality or not, his economic policies are pretty much spot on, and his
yeah.
foreign policy is spot on for the
Right.
best thing for Americans. So how do you sell that in Connecticut to people that, not only Democrats, who are, a lot of them are just lost, they're TDS victims. You're never going to get anywhere. What about reasonably rational thinking Connecticut Republicans that just don't like Trump and just it's really bad here in Connecticut? What's your plan for how do you navigate that?
And that's actually a very good question. There's a lot of people who are absolutely deranged with hatred for Trump. And it's a hatred that really doesn't make
Conservatives even.
any sense,
Yeah,
really.
right.
Um, so my way is just like, look, um, tell me a policy that you don't like, and I'll talk to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
Policy, not person.
Because
A lot of them won't even be able to come up with one. They'll just go, you're just a Nazi too, and
I
they'll
know,
walk
I
away,
know.
right?
I mean, some
They
people
can't even come
are
up with
not
something.
going to be,
Yeah.
there's definitely people who are not ever going to be able to get over their hatred. And I expect too that Rubio and Vance are going to be given the same hate treatment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I don't actually even think that it's just Trump, you know? Um, I don't think it's just Trump.
No.
And
He's the manifestation of it all,
he's
really.
the manifestation, yeah, because
It's him that got it kickstarted when he came down
yeah,
the golden elevators, and that's when that's what started this. He kind of ripped the mask off the other side, really,
yeah,
and that's why they're behaving more unhinged.
yeah, they're just getting crazier
Yeah.
and crazier. And look, you don't have to marry Trump. I mean, he's already married, right? So you don't have
I'm
to
not
like
gonna marry
Trump,
him. I can tell you
right? You
that.
don't have to love him, okay? But you do have to talk about policy. And if the only policy you have is I hate Trump, that's not a policy. That's the main plank in the Democrat platform is
That's
I hate
loco.
Trump. And it's like they're so um they're whipped into such a frenzy of hatred that
Yeah,
it just is kind of mind-blowing, really.
it is.
Um
It is a
so
mental illness. It really is. In a lot of cases, it is.
yeah, and I feel like the main people who aren't worked up into a frenzy of hatred are actually minorities.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because
Notice, notice that the protest, all the anti-ICE protests out in Minnesota, they're all white.
they're
They're
all
all
white
like
people.
older white
Yeah,
people. There's
they're
no,
all white
there's
people.
no blacks or no Latinos that are supposedly the ones that are being oppressed. None of them are there.
Right. This is definitely it's a white people thing. The degree of like insane hatred is kind of a white people thing, and it's much easier for me to talk to Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people because they're just not as unhinged
Oh, that's
as
true.
my colleagues in the academic world who, are white people. And I hate saying that is just true.
Yeah.
Like the you can't even like I'll be standing there with a glass of Chardonnay, right? And I hear them saying the most horrific things about people like me. They don't know, you know?
I wonder if our political crises, the problems that we're facing right now, are not they're quite closely related to our mental health crises that we've been hearing about over the last 20 years.
Absolutely. You have just
They're not
hit
mutually
the nail
exclusive.
on the head.
Yeah.
What you're seeing, a lot of it is weaponized trauma.
Uh-huh. Psychological
And
warfare.
yeah, psychological warfare.
Yeah.
And, I took an oath not to use what I know to hurt people. But they didn't. Okay.
They didn't, right.
Yeah, the people who are operatives, they know exactly what they're doing. They know how to weaponize people's psychological traumas. And one of the ways they do that is, say, for example, the lizard brain, the midbrain where the amygdala sits, where fear and hatred are processed. Um, if you can hit that, you can actually in real time measure a lower IQ.
Hmm.
Um, and what they do is they hit the amygdala, they hit the trauma, they hit the fear and the hate, and people become irrational. Um, and the spiral, they start spiral. And I'm sure you've seen like TikTok videos of people, and you would go, oh, these people are crazy, but your heart breaks for them
Yeah,
because you know that that's what they actually think.
yeah.
And they're terrified of
Yeah, they're
me.
already
Okay. They're
emotionally.
terrified of me. Okay. And I'm like, wow, these people are being made to believe something that's completely untrue.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're
it's
terrified.
what happens is I think it's another mental illness is people on the left tend to have already be angry. They're already unhinged, and then they go around and look for facts to try to fit their narrative, and they can't find them usually, so they twist them. Whereas people on the right or the people who are thinking more mentally clearly do the opposite.
Right.
They kind of come along at an even keel, and then they see something, a fact. The fact is supposed to affect the emotion, not the other
Right.
way around.
Right. And, the ability to be rational has really been undercut
Mm,
by using psychological, um, actually, psyops.
yeah,
You know, I mean,
yeah,
people know. I have a neighbor across the street who used to work for the Soviet Union. She's a psychiatrist, and she used to teach people how to lie and things like that. She knows.
yeah,
She sees it. Um, people don't even realize when they're being used in that way.
right,
And I have had literally people come into my office, literally suicidal, over some of the political messaging that they've heard.
yeah,
And I'm there trying to figure out if I should call 911 and have them committed to the hospital or whether I can talk them down off the ledge and send them home. Um, this is real. These are
yeah, right.
real people whose mental health is being just absolutely destroyed
Mhm,
by political operatives who want to use them for fear bait, for
right.
hate bait. And this is the most obscene malpractice that I've ever seen.
Mentally coerced votes, even whatever they get out of these people.
Yeah,
It's
it's
disgusting.
horrific. It's horrific. It's just really
To
unfair to
expose.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna. I know on my end, we're gonna be using cameras to expose as much corruption as we can. So that's it. The cameras don't lie, generally speaking, and with little editing as possible, and
Yeah.
we get to the bottom of it. So
Yeah. So it's just there's a lot opposing us. There's a lot opposing what I would say normal people who just want to live their lives in peace and freedom. A lot that is in opposition to that. And I just want people to know, if there's one thing that people hear and listen and believe from what I'm saying right now, is that this is your life. This is your country. This is your future. Um, there's nobody who's going to come and save you.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to step up to the plate and save you. You're going to have to step up to the plate yourself. And that's why I'm doing this. I'd rather not be doing this.
Right.
Okay. I'd
Yeah.
rather be, I like fishing. I'm going to
Yeah.
say I'd rather be out fishing or,
Yeah.
you know, just taking a nice walk in the woods or play with my cat. I would, read a nice novel
Yeah.
any day.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can't stand by and watch my country get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you care even a little bit, if you care even a little bit, just to do the bare minimum, okay? Just
Yeah.
the bare minimum to save this country, you have to join us.
Yeah.
You have to help out. Even if you don't have $10 to donate, maybe you have a few hours that you can go knocking on somebody's door.
Yeah.
You know, if you have some neighbors or relatives, maybe you can talk to them. Maybe you can talk to them and say, "Hey, this can't go on. This
You're
can't
right.
go on."
You're right, and your message is well heard, and we need people. We've been saying it on all of our podcasts. People in Connecticut need to stand up and come out at the very minimum. Make sure you register and vote at the least, and beyond that,
That is the bare
go to your
minimum.
Yeah,
RTCs, go to your DTCs, make your voices heard, and better yet, go to your town councils, go to your board, especially your board of education meetings where our
yeah,
kids are being indoctrinated from. Those are the authorities in the education system in Connecticut. And that's where the rubber meets the road. So get involved. Now
absolutely.
I have to
I think we're there.
are we there? Yep. Anything else on your mind, Amy, real quick before we check out? Or we've really enjoyed having you. You really made your message clear, I think, to voters here today.
Good, good. Yeah, and again, just join my $10 challenge. Um, every little bit helps. If you don't have $10, if you could volunteer to knock on some doors, anything you can do to help, um, is good.
You know, data
Anything.
entry. A lot of people. I know we find that in our movement, we need a lot of help with data entry and things like that too. Trying to get things together, like to
And
keep
you don't have to be
everything
in
going.
District 1, guys.
You don't have to be in District 1.
Right. Good point.
Yep.
So once
Yeah.
again, thank you. We'd like to have you on again in a few weeks, Amy, if you'd like to. We like to keep
Okay.
track of your campaign. I know that our new and it's very small, but our news network is growing and growing quickly, actually. And we would like to eventually have reporters come out and follow you, and you also John DeBarros and Lance Chris and the rest of the Republicans, and follow your campaigns very closely, so we can give you all the publicity you need to get the word out there.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate what you guys are doing. You're fighting the good fight, and that I like to see that. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. God bless Connecticut. God bless America.